And the only prescription is more cowbell.
Oh, hey, guys. That's the new intro. There we go. That should be decent enough lighting. We're going to watch a case that I watched a little bit of yesterday I listened to it while I was driving. And sorry if I sound like garbage. It's because, shocker, with 5 kids, I'm still sick. Oh, that coffee's weird. All right. Let's see. We've got 19 people in chat. Let me change the background and we'll get into this video. This is, again, I think Old Squishy Gardeners covered this. Colin has covered it. Lone Wolf has covered it. And in the next week, probably 15 other people are going to cover it. But yeah, it's Mr. Mr. Abel something or another, I believe his name is. He actually has been in court before, got shit on, but this time he decided he was going to bring his sovereign citizen wife. Which one came first? Him being a sovereign citizen. I can't say that sovcits equal always MAGA. I can't say that because I have seen some that are wildly left-wing. Malcolm Bliss, this is the issue that we currently have. Sovereign citizens, I'm going to get political here for like 3 seconds. Sovcits are more times than not right-wing. But on the flip side, you have people, in my opinion, that are just as bad as sovereign citizens that are, the spectrum is far left, far right, and then everyone else is kind of in the middle. Which one's Paul? Oh, the prosecutor. Yes, Aaron, the prosecutor literally gave 0 fucks the entire time. Where I'm at, it is single digits and extremely unfriendly for life. That's what I'm dealing with currently. We had an ice storm the other day, followed by about 3 inches of snow. So anytime you walk, you crinkle the snow and then snap, you break through the ice. It's just a shit way to go around. All right, let's get into this now that there's 32 people here. And I know it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so far left, Antifa. I don't know. When you start firebombing federal courthouses, that kind of puts you on my shit list. And burning down cities and shit like that, that's kind of...
We are on the record in case number 2024 TR 617, State of Kansas versus Abel Estrada Jr. Paulie Dean for the state. This is 2024 TR 617. Mr. Abel, you need to start your video
and let me know if the audio and video is moving correctly.
All right, Mr. Abel, you are representing yourself today, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Judge, you never approved my order for withdrawal.
Yeah, you set that over for today, Your Honor.
Well, I do have your motion to withdraw. I also have the defendant's pro se motion to dismiss with extreme prejudice, affidavit of true and affidavit of reservation of rights request for writ of discovery, which he filed November 21st to 24. Mr. Abel, what's going on between you and your attorney? Do you want an attorney or do you not?
But he's not able to defend me because for the interest, I don't know, but he's not defending me. I need an attorney.
You say you need an attorney?
But
I don't know if it's your computer or mine, but I'm having a hard time hearing you, sir.
Hello.
Missy, is that his computer or mine?
I hope it's not mine.
He's not sitting close enough to the microphone, Judge.
All right, you need to sit closer to your microphone is what I'm told, sir.
Can you hear me now?
That's great, yes. Now, what's going on with your attorney? Do you want your attorney or not?
I do, but there's some conflict of interest where he said he's not gonna represent me.
He says he's not going to represent you.
Says he's gonna pull himself out.
Okay, Mr. McClendon, what's your take on this?
Judge, my client wants me to support a position that I believe is contrary to the Constitution of the United States. And I took an oath to uphold that when I became an attorney, and I take that oath every year. And he's wanting me to pursue this position that I do not feel comfortable representing the law.
Your Honor, this is the same issue. I believe Mr. Paul was first appointed to this case. Essentially, the defense, as the court has seen, is one that's contrary to the United States Constitution of the state of Kansas, that he's for some reason from as a private citizen.
Same problem, regardless of what attorney he has?
That's correct. And if my understanding is correct, the court has indulged Mr. Abel in that it's appointed him two attorneys now. Two attorneys he sought to have basically present a defense that's contrary to the Kansas Constitution, contrary to the oath that each attorney takes when they're licensed in the state. And additionally, this carries a maximum sentence of 30 days, which would typically not even make him eligible for an attorney, but the court has taken the effort to give him counsel.
Well, and didn't Mr. Estrada, didn't this attorney, William McClendon, represent you and this was brought in initially in city court?
Yes, and it was dismissed. This is why I'm claiming double jeopardy, because I'm going for the same case over again, and this has been dismissed already. Why?
So I wanted to get into this because a similar situation happened to Broken System, Broken Trust, where he was up for one count of police interference. They dismissed the case, only to the next day bring 3 counts instead of 1. So Mr. Abel is talking out of his ass.
Am I going to court again?
Well, you didn't actually go to trial in the other one. You had a first appearance, as I recall, and then it was dismissed. So you haven't had any jeopardy attached. You've not had a trial in this.
Well, the supremacy laws says that you cannot be tried or convicted of anything.
I know what they say. I know what they say. All right. Well,
Listen to your words, sir. You just stated it. Tried or convicted. The jury was not impaneled. The judge had not begun to take evidence in your city court case. It was dismissed. Jeopardy does not attach until one of those events occurred, and they have not occurred.
well, okay, so Mr. Abel, if you want an attorney, it's going to be William McClendon. If you don't want an attorney, you'll have to either hire one, which it's kind of late for that in the day, or you'll have to represent yourself. So which way do you want to go?
I like to get it, but
Well, I'm not going to give you continuance for it because you've had this case in municipal court, you've had this case in this court, you've known this hearing was coming up, and you've gone through 2 attorneys. So what do you want to do? Are you going to represent yourself or use Mr. McClendon? Those are basically your choices.
I want to be, but the paperwork
You
that
have to stay up by the microphone. I can't hear you.
I want to be represented by my attorney, but the paperwork that I support, that I put in there, is completely lawful, and he doesn't want to go forth with my
Okay,
paper.
so here, is that where the disagreement is? You filed this voluminous motion to dismiss with extreme prejudice, as you captioned it, and he doesn't want to argue that for you? Is that why you 2 are in disagreement?
Yes.
Amongst many other reasons, Judge.
Okay, well, Mr. McClendon,
Why can't you make them stay on camera? You can, but for some reason, I've seen this, not so much long-term sovereign citizens on Zoom court. but maybe in the last 2 or 3 weeks, they get on, say who they are, and then immediately try to get off screen entirely. And I don't think it's because they don't want to like be seen on YouTube and get shit on by people like me, but I can't really understand the reason, because we see you. Why are you trying to hide?
I'm gonna.
Judge, if he's able to draft a motion of such, I don't see why he can't be able to argue it himself.
Well, I'm going to have you stay on board, Mr. McClendon. And Mr. Abel, I have read your motion. Believe it or not, I did read it all. I read about your arguments for the Sixth Amendment right to counsel and your discussion of Attorney Richard Paw having a case conflict. And then you start talking about your commercial and private license plates. You start citing federal law that isn't even applicable here.
How is that?
And you start getting into the U.S. Code. And you start talking about retaliation and coercion and the right to confront witnesses, which I agree you do have, and they are here to testify, as I understand it. But I don't agree with this, what you call lawful private American righteous onto the Lord, the King of glory, and the law of the land of the United States, ex parte Milligan. That isn't even making any sense. You start talking about military courts. This is not a military court. You start talking about being a free person, having the right to travel on the roads. Well, provided by their servants for that purpose. Well, we don't have servants in that sense. People are not servants unless they're hired and appropriately contracted. But as far as the roads, if you don't see yourself as having contributed to making those roads, you have to go by the rules of the road. And there's more paperwork.
And just to give you guys a better reason to even stick around for today. So at some point, the prosecutor is Paul Dean, and I think he's off screen at the moment, drawing a blank on what his name actually is, the sheriff deputy or the cop that pulled this guy over. They have his plate, which isn't a sovereign citizen plate that I've ever seen before.
You've included the order of dismissal from city court. You argue that the U.S. Supreme Court and other high court citations prove that no license is necessary for normal use of an automobile on common ways. That's not right. That's not the law. You talk about yourself being a traveler on foot, but you weren't a traveler on foot using the public highways. You were driving a motor vehicle, according to the allegations. You attached something from a Nora Weisenberg Foreign National Division, and you addressed Governor Pat McCrory out of Raleigh, North Carolina, a 2015 letter with a carbon copy to Deputy Justice Attorney General Loretta Lynch and Secretary of State John Kerry. I don't see that having any relevance or bearing. Then you've got something with a copyright number and a fee schedule with lawful legal notice, as you call it. And you start talking about prohibited actions in 18 U.S.C. 101, 18 U.S.C. 241, and you go down through those. And again, this is not a federal court. And then you start talking about you have fees that the officers must.
And even better, to go along with the license, they read out the fee schedule, which I have only, I haven't seen a fee schedule, but I have heard them say like, oh, if you want to talk to me, it's this much money. But it's a Six Oaks Farm type fee schedule where it's an a la carte menu of if you want me to do this thing, it's this much money. And they read it out in court.
Pay before they can do any business with you.
Correct.
And if they refuse to pay your fees, then any business or interaction with them or transaction you say is basically void. And I do not find that that is the law. You have an interesting fee schedule attached. Apparently, to give them your name, you charge $50,000.
Correct.
To give your driver's license number, you charge the officers $50,000. If they want your social security, it's $100,000. If they want a retinal scan, is that $5 million?
That's correct.
Fingerprinting, photographing, $200,000 each. Then DNA and a bunch of that stuff is $5,000, and you go on with like a long list of what you're going to charge them with, or charge them for talking to them. And I'm not going to honor that fee schedule because I don't think that has any law in this court, any bearing in this court. You either have the right to talk to the officers or you have the right not to talk to them. You have the right to talk to them with your attorney, again, or you just have the right not to talk to them. But to try to charge them these fees, that is not consistent with the law.
Man, pay.
And then you have a document, the 12 presumptions of court, and you start talking about a Roman court does not operate according to any rule of law, but by presumptions of law. You go on to talk about before a lower Roman court and a private bar guild. You talk about presumptions of public oath to the bar guild. And again, this is not a practice that Kansas uses. So I'm not going to make any rulings in favor of that document.
But it's a violation of my rights because what you do with 39 CFR subsection 3(9).
Okay, I can't hear you, sir. You're going to have to get in front of the microphone.
I've been in front of the microphone, but what you're saying is a clear violation of my rights because 49 CFR subsection 3.0.
All right, well, sir, I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop you there. You've argued your point very, very extensively in your written documents. So I've heard your arguments in the written documents. I don't see any basis to them in this case, and I deny all of your motions and arguments. I note your objection for the record, so you can appeal if you wish, sir. But as judge in this case, I'm denying your motions, and we're going to proceed with your bench trial on a factual basis.
Right, but under what law are you basing this? What law? Because you're violating the
Under
law.
the Kansas laws, and if you don't know the Kansas laws, that's what you have an attorney for. He knows the Kansas laws. So we're going to proceed. We're going to proceed, sir. You need to restrain yourself a little bit. We have an orderly process we go through. Mr. Dean, are you ready to proceed?
State's ready, Your Honor.
All right. Please call your first witness. And
Unfortunate Altar Boy brings up a great point that I didn't notice until just now. Let me make this full screen and hopefully you can see it. Let me take your comment down. Joe Conrad has 2 camera angles, and I cannot for the life of me figure out why. To my knowledge, so far, it seems as if Joe Conrad has had 0 to do with this trial. Gustav, member for 12 months. More idiots today? Yeah, more idiots as usual. They never go away.
For the record, we are looking at a bench trial on the charge of vehicle display of a license plate. There's an
Ma'am.
argument. Okay. Yes, sir.
Uh,
Briefly.
The Supremacy Clause, Article 6 of the Constitution, is that the law of the land, the supreme law of the land, is the Constitution.
All right.
I
Well,
have-
I'm denying your motion, sir, and you need to, if you're gonna participate in this hearing, you have to get closer to your microphone.
I'm on top of it. Literally, my face is on the microphone.
Well, you have to turn it up somehow. All right, Mr. Dean, if you'll call it, we're gonna start the trial. Are there any opening statements?
And statement waive open statements. Call, looks like we have Deputy Hanson here with us.
Deputy Hanson, please raise your right hand.
Okay.
You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Very well. Please proceed, Mr. Dean.
Deputy Hanson, would you please state your full name and title?
I am Deputy Clinton Hanson of the Greenwood County Sheriff's Office.
And how long have you been so employed?
Since June of 2023 at this agency.
And how long have you said at this agency, you worked at other law enforcement agencies prior to your employment with Greenwood County?
Yes, sir. I have a grand total of 15 years in law enforcement.
And is that the same amount of time that you've been a certified law enforcement officer?
Yes, sir.
And back on August 21st of 2024, what were your duties on that day, sir?
On that day, I was just assigned to general patrol and any service calls or accidents that came up.
And were you patrolling the city of Eureka in Greenwood County, Kansas on that day and time?
Yes, sir.
And was there anything on that date that caught your attention as odd?
Yes, sir, there was.
And what was that?
While I was southbound on Main Street,
Here it comes.
I stopped at the stoplight. I noticed the vehicle in front of me had a very unusual registration on their vehicle.
And what was unusual about that registration?
Well, in 15 years of law enforcement, while I understand things change with license plates, I had never seen this license plate before. What also became very apparent to me as odd was the fact that it had a Kansas label on it, as well as a US DOT.
I'll show you what I marked as State's Exhibit Number 1. I believe you have the possession of this at the Sheriff's Department, correct?
I do, sir, right here.
And that's a license plate that you removed from this vehicle and preserved for evidence for today. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And does this appear to be an accurate picture and representation of the plate that you observed while you were on routine traffic patrol back
Yes,
on
sir.
August 21st, 2024?
Yes, sir.
And that's what you're referencing of Kansas and US DOT, not appearing to be something that you would normally see as far as the layout of a license plate.
Correct.
Is private something you generally see on a license plate?
Not a plate that has ever been issued, to the best of my knowledge, by the state of Kansas or any other state.
Did you attempt to run this license plate before it issued or while you were investigating this matter?
I did.
And what, if any, information was discussed?
All right, there we go. That's a good picture of this. So it says it's a Kansas plate, but then it's got US DOT in the corners instead of a tag. But I think it's funny that he's also got the handicapped fake plate.
dispatch able to provide to you?
There was no information. We could not get a what we call a return or a return from the state with all of the vehicle information.
Kansas, a lawful Kansas license plate, would it not also show a month that it expires and a current sticker showing that it's been registered, tags and taxes paid?
Yes, sir, in the upper right-hand corner.
And that's where it's just indicating that it's exempt for some reason.
Yes, sir.
Based upon the observations of State's Exhibit number 1, Your Honor, and I would move for admission of the same. He's identified it.
Any objection to admission of State's Exhibit 1?
And where did this plate come from?
Wait for it.
That's the number. That's the one that I got from the DOT.
My question, again, not where the number was generated from. Where did this actual physical plate, irregardless of the information on it, where did this plate come from?
From a company. Company made it for me.
And you
So more than likely what he did was he went on to the old freaking Amazon and ordered a fake plate, or he went to his local guru. I know there's that one guy who lives in a shack in the middle of the woods with a shitty recliner, has a website that gives you all of this, sells you a fake plates, fake documents, a way overpriced dash cam. Got it from him. And the fact that they're not trying to actively go after those people is crazy to me. Member for 7 months. Liar. Yes. I'm just kind of curious. You guys will see his wife up in a second, or in a little bit here. Which one do you think was a sovereign citizen first? The wife or the husband?
requested that company make it for you, correct?
Yes, I did.
And that's a private company. It's not some government agency that issued you this, correct?
Correct.
How long is this plate good for?
Indefinitely, because when I'm using it in a private.
Okay. Those are the questions, Your Honor.
Anything you want to say to follow up what he just asked you about?
Yes, thank you.
No argument, just facts.
I don't even know how to question anymore, because
I hate this guy so much. Parsons 1122 gifted 5 memberships. Thank you.
I'm not able to use my own thoughts. I guess I don't have questions at the moment. Go ahead.
Do you have any other witnesses
Okay.
you want to call, sir?
So, Kathy, this is how they get away with it. Let me make myself semi-full screen here for a second. So this is how they get away with it. They will label it either in the paperwork, on the back of the plate, on the front of the plate. Like, oh God, what is this shit that fake money has on it? Like not actual currency. It's like a gag gift type thing. That's what they put on it because they know what they're pushing is like just bullshit. So they will put on there like not a real plate, not meant for vehicles, yada yada. Because they're trying to sell them under the guise of, oh, somebody's going to put it on their four-wheeler or, I don't know, their kid's wagon or their golf cart. They're not meant to be on a vehicle. Obviously, you need to have a real plate, real registration, a real license, but they're selling it to these dumb fucks. William Stryker 499. W Stryker checking in. Good to see you, Brother KFR. What's up, bud?
I want to call my wife.
Very well.
There
What
we
is
go.
her name?
It's Annie.
Not for legal
Estrada.
tender. That's what I'm looking for.
Annie
She's-
Estrada. If you'll please come on the screen, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the information, the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes,
Okay, thank you. Go ahead. You are Annie Estrada, married to the defendant Abel Estrada Jr., is that right?
correct.
Now, were you with him at any time during his interactions with law enforcement on August 21st, 2024? I'm sorry?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you want to tell me about that?
I just want to add that the number, the DOT number that was on there was never ran, because I told them that you need to check it. And we have the paperwork from the DOT that it is a registered number. So how, like, what is the issue with the plate?
Ma'am, the issue is DOT numbers. I believe that the judge might talk about this in a little bit, but I wanted to get my 2 cents in real quick. So the DOT number, I don't like that at all. I already switch it. The DOT number is like something akin to like, if you might see them on the side of tow trucks that work on the highway or semi trucks. It'll have the DOT number like on the door or like on the back of the trailer, not on a license plate instead of a license plate, if that makes sense. Like those vehicles still have to be plated like normal, registered like normal, yada yada. You can't just put the DOT number on a plate that someone made for him and throw it on the back and be like, that's what it is. That's all I need to have, when that's not the case.
If you run the number, it is registered under the Department of Transportation.
It's a lawful plate.
And then they didn't want to do anything with it. They actually, so I had to pull out the fee schedule that we have. If you want to do business, then let's do business. Here's our fee schedule. And they ignored it. And then when the officer, the deputy started writing the ticket, he actually told my husband, if you don't sign this, you're going to go to jail.
That's coercion.
That's not correct. I believe that's a violation.
I did under the threat of
Yeah.
harm.
So now he
All
has
right,
to sign it.
Mr. Estrada, she's testifying.
Okay.
Yeah, so he signed it under duress.
Yeah.
And so
Anything else?
my main concern here is what is the violation, because we both numbers are registered. One is under the Department of Transportation and the other is under commercial. And I have the paperwork here that I sent it to the deputy.
What is that you're holding up?
The registration,
No.
transportation, carrying the number, that it's a registered number.
Mr. Dean, any questions?
No.
No? All right, thank you. Any further evidence, Mr. Estrada?
Not at the moment.
All right,
Mr. Estrada, you're in a courtroom. Please remove your cap.
The only reason I put it on is
I'm
because
chilly.
I'm
He's
taking
chilly.
blood thinners, and I am freezing, and I got the heater next to me, and I cannot concentrate. I do it out of necessity. It's not that I'm being disrespectful. May I have my hat? Because I'm trembling here. I can't concentrate.
Just call for the judge.
I'll let you wear it under these circumstances that you described. Now,
I apologize.
both parties have presented their evidence. You said you're not going to call anyone else, right, Mr. Estrada?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to give you each no more than a 5-minute closing argument. But remember, I'm pretty versed in this law of license plates, so I don't need a lot of legal argument. Go ahead, though, Mr. Dean, if you have any.
So if you noticed, he's chilly. That's why he put on a hat. He's chilly. Mr. Dean, I don't want to say he's a boss, but if you noticed, he had no opening statement because he knew that this guy was toast. And he phoned in this entire thing because he knew this guy was toast, which it's kind of hilarious to me because he does exactly like zero work. He holds up the fake plate and says, officer, or is it a sheriff, deputy, is this the plate he had on his car? And he's like, yeah. He's like, is this bullshit? Yeah. Okay, well, I rest my case. He had to do almost nothing and looked like he's some legal god. And I love it.
I could argue quite a bit about, mainly in regards to what Mr. Estrada is referencing.
But he's
Now,
not
feel
going
free to
to.
argue. For 5
But I don't
minutes.
believe it's going to be of a necessary benefit to the court. I believe the court's well aware that regardless of whatever this is that Mr. Estrada has issued to himself, he may have received a KDOT or a U.S. Department of Transportation number associated with something. What Mr. Estrada is failing to acknowledge is the fact that this is the supremacy clause doesn't mean all things overrule everything the state does. State rights, equal protection, as the court knows, all of those, full faith and credit that the U.S. Constitution is the primary clause Mr. Abel just ignores from Mr. Estrada. Kansas requires you to, if you're a resident of Kansas or you have a vehicle in Kansas, which he just showed us the registration for Central County, that you have a Kansas license tag. You don't get to just decide that you're no longer going to display a license tag from the state of Kansas. And he's displaying a tag that no one can run, no one can verify any information from, and I think that's clearly a violation of Kansas law. I ask that you make a finding him guilty, and that's all I have to say.
All right, Mr. Estrada, it is 12:55. You have 5 minutes to make any legal arguments. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. I'm going back to the supremacy clause of Article 6. It says,
This is what kills me too, with sovereign citizens and other groups that we watch on YouTube. The supremacy clause argument that he's kind of laid out got shit on 20 minutes ago. And I believe this is the second time that he's tried to bring it back up. Like somehow it getting shit on earlier is going to make it not get shit on this time. Like, I hate to say it, but this dude doesn't seem mentally there.
says that all judges are supposed to be abided by this law of the land. I don't know why you keep why they keep saying that I don't know what I'm saying.
Because you don't know what you're saying.
The law of the United States is the supremacy law over any state law. And 49 CFR subsection 390.3 says that unless you there's an exception that says unless otherwise specially provided in the rules not applied section 3, the occupation of personal property by individuals not for compensation and not the furtherance of commercial enterprise. So I am not in commercial. I am not in commercial law. I am not traveling with a truck. I'm not making any money. I am disabled.
You've made that apparent.
The only reason why I'm in the city is because of the hospital. I am not using this card for commercial purposes. I am exactly quoting inside what I'm using. This is to do otherwise. This would be a blatant violation of my rights, and all this gas lamping, telling me that I don't know what I'm saying and I don't know what I'm doing, sir. That is incorrect. I know what I'm doing because I've been doing it. I studied it. I went to the Kansas Assembly, General Assembly, and we study, and they teach us not to violate the law, to obey the law.
So he's this is the hilarious part for me. So he doesn't have enough money to pay the ticket, but he has enough money to go out and buy a fake guru packet, to go out and buy a fake plate, to go and register his car with the DOT, even though he doesn't have to, because in my head, registering your shit with the DOT is like a commerce move. But he has enough money to buy all these things and then go to some random sovereign citizen group meeting where they tell you, yeah, this is how you not break the law. But then you go in any courtroom and it's basically teaching you how to, not teaching you how to break the law, but teaching you that breaking the law is okay because some crazy person said so.
But any law that supersedes the Constitution of the United States is no law to follow. So, and I want to summarize by saying that I am not going to violate the law in any way, shape, or form. I never did it, and I'm going to give it whether.
Yeah, and if you guys noticed, GE Swag is not me. Parsons 1122 brings up. For some reason, the brain dead dipshits in the frauditing and sovereign citizen community, they think GE Swag is me. I am not typing, and GE Swag is just blowing up the chat. Like, there's no possible way that it could be me.
You want to give it is
You're
not
killing
correct.
me, Parsons. You're killing
You're just saying that because you just wanna get your way with me. But I am disabled. I got no money. Whatever money you're trying to take from me, I don't have it. $700 a month is not enough for me to live. So I don't have money to pay, number one. Number two, I didn't violate anything. Everybody in your office and in the attorney and the other person, at the judges, they're all telling me, why don't you just pay the fine? Why don't you just plead the? Why am I gonna plead something that I didn't violate any law? I did not do anything wrong. I'm righteous unto the law. Period. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The applicable statute today is,
And before she gets into that, you see how GE Swag is like arguing with like subscribers that I have in the chat? I make it a habit of not arguing with my subscribers. So if I was GE Swag, that would be the dumbest thing that I could possibly do.
8-133, KSA 8-133. Display a license plate. The provision begins, the license plate assigned to the vehicle shall be attached to the rear thereof and shall be so displayed during the current registration year or years. It goes on with some language from there, but that's the bottom line. Were you, sir, driving a vehicle with the license plate assigned by the Department of Vehicles, the TAG department, and did you have it attached to the rear of your vehicle? And was it for the current year? I understood the officer's testimony to say that you did not have the current year's plate attached. I wasn't totally clear, but it sounded like you were saying you had a tag, but you didn't have it attached. You, on cross-examination, were very clear that the only plate you had attached to the rear of your car was Plaintiff's Exhibit 1. And you admitted that that did not come from the Department of Motor Vehicles, but that came from some private contractor that you hired to make this special plate for you. You emphasize the US DOT number. Well, you may have a DOT number, but those are usually assigned for vehicles of a certain size, weight, and function. I don't know that I've ever.
Okay, so in my head, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong here. So in my head, the Department of Transportation number would be something that you use for commerce. Yet he's saying he doesn't need a regular plate because he's not in commerce, which both of those things can't be the same thing. Like, I know sovereign citizens are just like not all there, but it's like this guy got clubbed like a baby seal, and now he's trying to represent
I've
himself.
heard anyone argue that the number would apply to a private automobile as in this case. But those numbers go usually on the doors in vinyl lettering, but they do not replace a car tag. I do find you guilty, sir. You will pay a fine and court costs. And I was looking, this isn't one with a scheduled fine to it. Mr. Dean, do you have any recommendation to what the fine in this should be?
Your Honor, as he had paid his taxes and registration, I'm gonna treat that.
Paul Dean again, American badass. The sovereign citizen claimed, oh, you guys are just here for basically to make money off of this guy. Paul Dean is letting this guy off with the babiest of fines just to help him out. Like he goes on to about how he could have basically taken him to Pound Town, but he's not.
This is what I typically do, even though Mr. Estrada exercises his right to trial and does not acknowledge that the state of Kansas can even require him to do this. I'm going to ask the court to impose a fine of $50. Most court costs of $108. I believe under most circumstances, this carries a maximum 30 days of jail, not asking for any jail to be served, but I believe that we may need some type of a sentence underlined for this matter. 6 months of non-reporting probation or appropriate time to pay.
And I'm sorry, I missed what you said about how long the length was.
I actually didn't make it. I just stated the max sentence was up to 30 days. I didn't make a particular statement as to how many days to serve. I will say recommend 15. Again, it did actually have the tag. Is choosing not to display it based upon an improper belief on the rule of law in this.
Okay, so like most sovereign citizens at this point, they know what they're doing is bullshit. So you know how some of them have their license, but they just don't want to give it over because they don't think they need to. They go down this whole rabbit hole of, I don't need to because of this. I don't need to because of this. But then why do you have it in your pocket? Video I covered last week and a half. I covered a guy. Yes, everybody in here is a friend for the most part. And if they're not a friend, they're probably not talking. Probably just beating off to a video of me or something. But the video I covered a few days last week, something like that, he had a license or a plate rather, but it was on the ground in between his legs because he wanted to get pulled over. So this guy full on has a plate, but decided to throw his fake DOT plate on there. Like, what's the point? Like, this guy clearly doesn't. I love trolls. It helps Kevin with the algorithm. You're not wrong. Yeah, this guy doesn't have a YouTube channel. He clearly doesn't have enough money to file a lawsuit if something goes sideways. So what's the point of hiding your real plate and using a fake one? Like, if you had a YouTube channel and you're just doing this for views and you want to get pulled over and yada, yada, I understand that. Like, that's a decent, or not like a decent argument, but I can see why you're doing it. This guy has no reason. He just said he's broke, so he's just making himself more broke by doing this.
State's opinion. We'll clarify that I at no point in time stated that Mr. Estrada did not know what he was saying, nor a number of things he attributed to me as being statements about him. I made none of those statements. I simply stated that the full faith and credit and the fact that we are a constitutional republic and the states have state rights and control of certain issues is being ignored by the arguments. Never stated that he didn't know what he was saying.
Well, and I have listened to Mr. Abel in both city court and district court on this case. And at no time have I been given the impression that he was incompetent or needed a mental evaluation. I always believed and found that he just had a differing opinion than what most of the folks in the legal system believe based on the laws that we work with. But Mr. Estrada, your fine will be $50. Your court costs are $108, so you owe $158. How much time do you need to pay that, sir?
I have no money. I make $700 a month and my rent is $500, which leaves me with $200 for food.
And I hate to say this again. He said 800 earlier. Now it's 700 is what it is. But you had enough money to go out and buy a fake plate, which I'm not saying it cost. What did Paul Dean want? $50? I'm not going to say it cost $50, but you paid that knowing you're going to have to continue to pay every time you get pulled over. But he just had a wife. So you make 800 and it's $500 for rent. So your wife makes zero. Like, even if she went and sold plasma at the closest, college student broke person plasma center, you're making $100 a week or more. So she's doing nothing and just living off of your $800, which is really zero. Come on.
No money, but I'm going to appeal this. I'm appealing this.
All right. Well, I'm going to.
And again, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I'm pretty sure that if you appeal it, you're going to have to pay the fine prior to appealing it. I know that's what they've said in damn near every single court. Once you appeal it, you have to pay the fine so that we know you paid the fine. Then you can appeal it. And I'm assuming that if you appeal it and you win, you get your money back. So he's not going to be able to appeal it if he's not going to be able to pay $158.
Give you 15 days to pay. I'm also giving you a 15-day sentence that you will not have to serve as long as you do successfully complete a 6-month non-reporting probation.
Lick the whole sock.
You will not
Tell me
have to
more.
see a probation officer, but you will need to do 2 things. The first is do not violate any laws during the 6 months. And the second is pay the $158 within 14 days.
Parsons,
Now,
I love you.
You do have up to 14
Parsons, I love you.
days to appeal this decision to the Kansas Court of Appeals. If you do, I am going to set your appeal bond at $158 cash. Anything further, Mr. Dean, from the state?
Your Honor, just non-reporting conditions, probation to include pay all costs and fines within 15 days of today's date. I'd like a pay or appear date.
Okay. Pay
Keep
or
us
appear.
notified if he would change it. Keep county attorney's office notified if he change addresses and no new law violation.
All right. If you change your address, phone number, contact information, the condition of your probation is to let the county attorney know. And then I'm going to give you a date to return that if you don't have this paid, we're going to revisit it and see what, if any, effect it might have on your probation. So, Missy?
Did you say 14 days?
They're about 14, 15, somewhere.
I had 15 days written down, but I may have just done that off of a 15-day sentence.
February 28th at 11.
All right.
All right. So, Malcolm, if you want to take politics, if you want to hit me up on Discord, I'll talk to you all day about it. But like, this is a random sovereign citizen who didn't have a plate, and you're talking about something that A, has nothing to do with that, and B, is not even necessarily true. So if you want to talk about politics, hit me up on Discord. If not, moving on real quick, Parsons, I actually have had one of those hats for like my whole life from living in Michigan. So that's the normal go-to headwear of wintertime for me.
February 28th, 2025 at 11. You need to have that paid or be back here in court. Yes, sir?
I cannot pay it. I don't have the income.
All right, well, we will visit that. We'll revisit that on February 28th.
Your Honor, in this case, I probably should review the journal entry and maybe ask the court to approve it if Mr. Estrada won't cooperate. Sir, I'm going to show you what I've marked today. This is a journal entry. It's just simply a record of what occurred today. I'm not asking for you to agree to what the court ruled or found, just that this is what happened. And obviously, you do have the right to appeal any judgment entered against you today. It's got the case name, Sadekins versus yourself. Case number assigned to it, which is Greenwood County 2024. Case number, the date that we all appeared here today, that you appeared via Zoom with Fort Point County.
Greg, 5 gifted memberships. Oh no, they're gifting already. It's going so fast. Okay, there we go. Greg for 5 gifted memberships. Thank you. Also, I've talked about this in videos. I don't know if I've talked about it on stream before. So, in my opinion, every sovereign citizen that comes into court should be treated as they should get like something like a hate crime kicker. You know what I mean? Where you come in, oh, sovereign citizen, you get the sovereign citizen kicker. Good to go. So you get the sovereign citizen kicker, and it automatically comes with probation. Non-reporting probation, which I'm fine with. But that just means if you get hemmed up for something similar within the next 6 months, you fucked. You fucked. Oh, God, Malcolm, you sound so dumb. But I love it. Hit me up on Discord.
Counsel, who's assigned as standby counsel, and I need to add in Mr. McClendon's name to the journal entry. So there's no blanks. So I've added Mr. McClendon, who's designated by the court at this point in time as standby counsel. Court found you guilty after proceeding to the bench trial of illegal display of tag, violation of KSA 8-1.
Also, for those of you who don't know, getting questions, what is Discord? Discord is kind of like it's kind of like OnlyFans, but I just post pictures of cookies. Rumor has it. That's what I'm hearing in the streets.
Free. Court proceeded to sentencing. Court sentenced you to a 15-day sentence, which is suspended for payment of court costs. Payment of fine, and I don't believe the court stated this, Your Honor, but I think the court's going to waive attorney fees based upon the disability finding or claim. $50 fine. Go down here, and other conditions of probation include, but are not limited to, or may include, pay all costs of within 15 days of the day. If you have not, appear on the date the court just gave you for February 28th at 11 a.m. this year. No new law, or keep the county attorney's office notified. If you change addresses, no new law violations. And I've also noted the court advised you of your right to appeal within 14 days of today. That's an accurate statement as to what the court ordered, not as to your legal position.
Can I get a copy of that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I'm adding, I hadn't quite finished it, but his right to appeal this case to the Kansas Court of Appeals within 14 days of today.
Oh, yeah, and like chat's saying, if you're not already on Discord, do not get on Discord. Most servers, I know like mine's okay, Tones is okay, Mark Baggett, KTZ, and others are pretty good servers. We just like to hang out, talk to each other. Other people's are like weird, where they're like all about the drama all the time. They'll dox children, they'll dox people's addresses, work, put pictures and shit like that up there. Some Discord servers are weird, but if you're not already on there, would not recommend. Give it a 2 thumbs down.
So do you agree that that's what the court ordered? Mr. Abel? or excuse me, Mr. Estrada?
I don't agree to anything, but I hear what you say.
Okay, I'd ask the court to go ahead and authorize that I approve without his signature. The court approves that that's an accurate recitation of the journal entry without his signature.
Well, I think you're agreeing, aren't you, Mr. Abel? That's what I said. You just don't agree with it, right?
Don't agree.
You don't agree that that's what I said?
I don't agree to anything.
All right.
Your Honor, I'll indicate decline to approve or comment.
Yes. All right, Mr. Abel, you may go at this time, or Mr. Estrada.
Your Honor, may I be permitted to withdraw from this case?
Yes, now you can withdraw. Thank you, Mr.
I'll add that to the journal entry as well.
All right, now then, Mr. McClendon is excused, Deputy Hanson's excused.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Mr. Estrada is excused.
I'm just making a note I don't usually have to make, that the court approves a journal entry in open court over the defendant's unwillingness to approve or comment as to what was incorrect.
All right, guys, that's the video. You're weird. How dare you talk about Discord? Discord's bad. Discord's very bad. Malcolm, to my knowledge, people in the country illegally can't vote, so I don't understand how you would say that illegal immigrants voted for someone when they can't vote. It's kind of strange, but okay. Yeah, like I said, that's the video. I am going to attempt to make some videos. Michael Kennedy, what's up, man? How we doing? Oh, hey, from Kick. But yeah, that's the video. I'm going to try to make some videos tonight. Maybe. I think I have a few videos up my sleeve to make. I'm also going to start trying to make some videos for the third channel. I had just put out a couple videos over there. It's Reading the Room if anybody wants to. You know what? I have the technology. I'll drop that in here real quick if you guys want to go subscribe over there. It's a pretty nifty channel. Not at all like this channel, thank God. If I had two channels like this, I don't think I would make it, if we're being honest with one another. There we go, and bang. Go subscribe to that channel. We're at like 330-ish subscribers over there. Governor of Illinois named Lake Michigan, Lake Illinois, and being someone from Michigan, I would be willing to go to war with Illinois over that. And I'm pretty sure most of the people who live in Illinois that aren't in the Chicago area would probably be willing to go to war with their governor. Going live tonight? Absolutely not. Absolutely not going live today. As you know, or as if I don't know if you can hear it, I'm sick. My whole family's sick. But I scheduled this and was going to follow through on this because I hate canceling streams. But for the rest of the day, I'm probably going to lay about and drink as much coffee with alcohol in it as I can. I tried the preferred way of getting over sickness, resting, water, eating right. So now that didn't work for 2 weeks. Now I'm going to the military way where I'm just going to drink massive amounts of whiskey and hope it kills whatever's inside of me. KFAR stole the election. Pat, start that rumor, please. That would be awesome. But yeah, that's the video. If you guys want, as soon as this video ends, go back over and tell me if you liked my new intro song. I tried to do a new intro song for live streams and a new one for my videos. Is that Pikachu? Yeah, it's Pikachu. If you guys didn't know, Chris Ryder, who used to run the channel for public safety before he got booted because he's a piece of shit, he was talking bad about Pokemon, and he was talking bad about people's mothers because his mother hates him because, again, he's a piece of shit. Was going on about how you don't need your mother, yada, 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 and how anyone who has ever played Pokemon was a piece of shit. So I went out and got one of the children a giant Pikachu. I have now like 10 pairs of Pokemon socks, just to fuck with Chris. And then as soon as I got all these things, YouTube took him off YouTube. Thank God. He's trying to make a comeback. One day I'll stream about his comeback, but yeah. Michael Kennedy, I do play video games when I have time. Like I'm currently playing baseball, but one day I'll get back to doing things when I have time. But all right. Everybody have a fantastic day. Don't go do anything crazy. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Bye.